Started. Thank you all for being here tonight. That's right. Welcome to a very special edition of the Baltimore Butterfly Sessions, brought to you by Baltimore Center Stage and the SNF Agora Institute. My name is Stephen RUCKMAN, and I'm Deputy Director of the Institute here at JHU. If you don't know us, we are an academic center and public forum that's dedicated to improving and expanding civic engagement and informed inclusive dialogue as the cornerstone of global democracy. So in keeping with our mission, we are delighted to be able to bring the Baltimore Butterfly Sessions to campus because they so beautifully advance inclusive dialogue, weaving together music, poetry, literature, and thought-provoking discussion on important civic issues, which you'll see tonight. Tonight's session is called Pop the Vote, and we're seeking to celebrate the integral role that artists, musicians, and pop culture creators play in our democracy, driving civic engagement and driving social change with their creativity, their energy, their vision, their protest, seeking a better world. This is the kickoff event of the Elijah Cummings Democracy and Freedom Festival, and we hope to see some of you there. All the main events tomorrow are down at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum. The festival gets its name from Baltimorean congressman who spent his career fighting for civil rights and expanded opportunities for marginalized Marylanders. Before we get started, I just wanted to give our deepest thanks on behalf of the Institute to the wonderful artists and creators who've joined us tonight, Lady Brion, Scott Patterson, John Tyler, and Emily White, and to our amazing partners at Baltimore Center Stage who made all of this possible, including some very last-minute additions to make the vibe here much better than you're used to in this space. So in particular, ANNALISA DIAZ, Estrellita Idwell, and Sammy Brown, thank you all so much for making this a special night. Thank you for bringing your gifts. So now, without further ado, I would like to turn it over to ANNALISA.
Oh my God, hi everybody. Hello, hello. Oh, hello, 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 how's it going? Stephen totally stole most of the things I was gonna say, but I will just keep the intro going a little bit to say, hi, my name is ANNALISA DIAZ. I'm the Director of Artistic Partnerships and Innovation over at Baltimore Center Stage, and we are thrilled to be here at Hopkins with you. This is our first Baltimore Butterfly Session out of our building at Center Stage, and I couldn't think and dream of a better place than to be here in this amazing building and here at Hopkins. So thank y'all for coming out to this first ever Baltimore Butterfly Session outside of Baltimore Center Stage. Okay, before we begin the event, I want to offer a land acknowledgement, which is a practice that we have over at Center Stage. The buildings here in Baltimore, including Hopkins and including our building over at Center Stage, are located on the ancestral and occupied lands of Piscataway peoples by the waters of the Chesapeake Bay. These lands have also been cared for by the Lumbee, Lenape, the Susquehannock, and many indigenous nations who are still here today. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and future. And you heard Stephen already mention a little bit about the Baltimore Butterfly Sessions. This is a series that we have at BCS. Usually they happen in our building. Would love to see any of you at the next ones that are coming up later on this spring. The Baltimore Butterfly Sessions is a civic dialogue and arts series, and where we use the arts to catalyze conversation about important topics in our society and in our democracy. And throughout tonight's event, there will be a few moments where we'll invite y'all to talk with one another. I said civic dialogue, so we'll invite y'all to dialogue with each other. And in order to do that, I want to invite y'all, just in case you haven't met the people who are literally next to you right now, just take a moment to say hello to who's sitting around you. Amazing, amazing. Thanks, y'all. Okay, cool. We're gonna keep it moving. You already heard that tonight's theme is Pop the Vote, and we're gonna be really thinking together tonight about the role of the arts and creative energy in democratic participation. And y'all, the lineup, Stephen already loved on these people, but I just have to tell you, this is a little bit of an all-star lineup. So you're gonna hear a keynote tonight by Emily White, who is the founder of #iVote, and she's going to tell you more about that and the many businesses that she has. And I can't wait to introduce her more to you later on. You're going to hear music from John Tyler, who is the founder of Love Groove Entertainment and the Love Groove Festival. He's also Baltimore's own John Tyler. Yes, thank you. You're going to hear music from Scott Patterson, who also is a Baltimore's own Scott Patterson, and he is the co-founder of Afro House, and his co-founder Alicia is also in the house tonight. Can we give it up for Afro House? And then, y'all, you don't even know. Every time I get to be in the same room as Lady Brion, I'm a little bit like, how did I get so lucky? She is an internationally acclaimed spoken word artist and activist and a gem of a human, and we're so lucky to have her here in Baltimore. So if y'all don't know her already, we're in for a treat, I'm sure. And I'm just gonna stop loving on people because I'll do that more throughout the night, but I want to get the evening started. So with no further, I'm gonna turn it right over to John and Scott to start grounding the night right in art making, and they'll start us off with a song.
Hello. Hello. How's everybody doing? We're very happy to be here today. This is my first time playing with Mr. John Tyler in public. We've jammed together a few times, but now we get to share our spirit with you. And that's all right. I want to start with this song that I wrote. It's called Africa. I always start with this song because it's a gathering. It's an invitation of the ancestors and the spirit and community. The theme of tonight is democracy, future of democracy, am I right? Well, I think the song fits because it's a collective. It takes all of us. And this song calls on the power of the community. The past community, the present community, and the future. Have come to sacrifice, war on our hubris, yeah, to bless our eyes and our hearts, the hearts of many who come before us, yeah, will be our God. the seed. Yeah, you take my hand, love childs will grow, and free our land, and the color of war, yeah, will cause a melee inside your mind. Liberate body and soul, set free your mind, give your control of all the strong. Will soon be weak. Will you remember to go beyond? So we come with this one message: no life in hatred, live for all kind.
Did I tell you or did I tell you? They're so good. And don't worry, we'll hear more from John and from Scott later on. But first, I want to invite Lady Brion up to the mic. And while she's making her way up, I just want to tell you more about her because if y'all don't know, you need to know. Lady Brion is an international spoken word artist, curator, activist, organizer, educator, and the executive director of the Pennsylvania Avenue Black Arts and Entertainment District. During her slam career, she has won the 2016 National Poetry Slam, the 2017 and 2019 Southern Fried Regional Slam, and the 2019 Rust Belt Regional Slam. Yep. Most recently, she became Women of the World Poetry Slam champion and International Poetry Slam champion with a team slam in April 2021. And in 2018, she published a book and accompanying album called With My Head Unbowed. Lady Brion also serves on the board for Do More Baltimore, which if you don't know about Do More, highly recommend go Google them because they are doing some phenomenal work in our city. And Lady Brion is also the cultural curator for a grassroots political think tank here in Baltimore called Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. So when I think about artists and democracy and political engagement, like who else is better than Lady Brion?
How's everybody doing? Good? Can y'all hear me okay? All right. How many of y'all are familiar with spoken word poetry? Raise your hand. Okay. We got a couple of people. All right. So one thing about spoken word poets is we don't really like quiet spaces, right? Like when a poem is happening, if you hear something that resonates with you, if you hear something that moves you, that is thought-provoking, you don't have to wait till the end of the poem to show your exuberance, right? There are some ways that you can participate during the poem. Y'all didn't know that y'all were a part of this performance, did you? Okay, so some of the things that you can do, you can snap. Everybody try it. Okay. Another thing that you can do is you can say, try it. Now you gotta make a thinking face. Okay? You can be like, yes. Anybody? Okay? Or any other form of exuberance that you're feeling in the moment. All right? So I was thinking about what poems I might bring today. And, you know, for me, when we talk about voting, right? When we talk about politics, right? Politics are local, right? We should be thinking about them in our own locales because politics are useful in bettering the material conditions of the spaces around us, right? And so for me as an artist, right, and thinking about my own political advocacy and my own work, it's more about raising awareness and connecting people to ideas that can help change the world around us, right? So you have to be brave enough to critique the systems and policies and practices that are in place, that are unjust, that are wrong, that need adjustments, right? That's really what the work looks like, especially for artists who have that critical analysis. So the poems that I'm bringing today are from that lens, from that vantage point. Cool? So they might be a little bit uncomfortable. And I invite y'all to lean into that space, okay? I like to say that spaces should be both safe but also courageous spaces. Cool? All right, so this first poem that I'm going to do, I actually wrote, we were like in the thick of COVID, and I was just reflecting on all these things that were happening around us in the middle of a global pandemic and what it meant to be an artist in this space and how it felt to be a Black woman and artist in this space. And so I'm gonna start with this poem because I think it ties into the themes of today. And then I'll do one more poem and I'll take my seat. Cool? All right. I make myself small, crouching into the corners of my own thoughts, tucking the crumbling parts of myself into a ready-made, I'm fine. I've learned the art of finding freedom in confinement, of flexing without ever being noticed, of following rules unwritten yet understood by my bones and my bloodline. I rehearse the tranquility of a casket while praising and bearing witness to my own breath. I bend my back in remembrance of me. I unfold my shoulders in honor of this invisible tabernacle, and yet I have swallowed thoughts before gestation, reserving my tongue before it ever tries to speak, a cage of teeth and jaw and fear. I put my hands up when no one is around, practicing just in case my time comes. I move through the world with open eyes and a closed mouth, my heart an open wound, a gaping sadness that does not yield to having to get things done, it just leaks. So I be a mess and a mop, cleaning and a pool of untamed frustration interchangeably. Have you ever gripped a windstorm in the palm of your fists? Ever tucked a hurricane behind your eyelids? Battling rage is to take a shot, shatter the glass, and swallow the shards. I walk with my ancestors in step, with the weight of immature caskets for souls snuffed out before growing old, hashtags itching at the nape of my neck, forcing me not to forget names I should not bear the responsibility of knowing, memorizing death sentences like oratory contests. Brianna, like Tarika, like Ariana, all killed by police raids gone wrong. Ahmaud, like Jordan, like Trayvon, all killed by white men who thought themselves God. George, like Eric, like Christopher, all chokehold and no mercy. These nappy roots all wash, rinse, and repeat. A memory of swinging bodies hanging from noose and tree. I watched the fall of the Capitol on TV. Watched a live-streamed insurrection, terrorists close enough to touch. Watched Trump ignite the dormant racism liberal multiculturalists attempt to ignore. Saw the way it bore holes in the facade of freedom, of protection, of the Constitution. Watched the truth of white supremacy peek through. Watched the inauguration of a new administration and felt the stillness of nothing change. Felt the pride of the first female Black vice president and the sting of patriarchy in the same breath. Watched so many Black bodies be mowed down at Black Lives Matter protests just to prove they don't. All while bearing the weight of a global pandemic and the corpses COVID has laid to rest. Quarantine had us falling apart in isolation. So we sit in deconstructed villages crying over a screen with our cameras turned off while iPhones continue recording police brutality to share on repeat. And somehow we find liberation in the retweets. There is resistance in the posts and shares. Somehow we push back in the same moment we push out tears. We take our art where the politicians refuse to go. where the policies don't touch, where the institutions are too bureaucratic to reach in time. My poetry be penicillin, be scripted healing. Art is a truth that refuses to be swept under the rug. The moment I take a stand, I render myself not small. And even on the days I cannot protest or post or project beyond a whisper, my silent prayer be enough. I am enough. See, I feel in surround sound. This heartbeat be a bass and a treble. I insist on existing despite the disruption to oppression that thought me unworthy of laughter or life or liberty. I linger a little longer, will not dissipate like smoke in the fire of it all. I am the alarm and the burning debris. All I have left is a rage unquenched in a chasm of uncertainty and the anger that accompanies an unknowing, and all of this is normal because I am human. A black woman poet with no apologies to speak of, no matter what you call me. Okay, so I have one more poem. I want to apologize. I know I might sound like a scratchy frog because I'm getting over a cold, so forgive me. But this next poem that I'm going to do, I actually wrote in 2016. This was a reflection on the Baltimore uprising that happened in 2015. Are folks familiar? Is this like things you've not heard before? Okay, I just see staring eyes. I'm gonna assume that's a yes. And so I wrote this poem about the reality that there are two Baltimores to speak, right? And depending on where you live, depending on your zip code, your lived experience and or life expectancy will be very different, right? Recognizing that the neighborhoods, the resources, the education that folks have are very different depending on where you were born in this city. And I will preface this by saying there is a moment in this poem where I mentioned John Hopkins. And for context, as a person born and raised in Baltimore City, I know that despite John Hopkins being one of the largest employers, right, in the city of Baltimore, it has also had a storied past of gentrifying communities, displacing people out of their homes, right? And so there's a real troubled, contentious relationship that Baltimore has with John Hopkins. And I don't, as y'all can see with my poems, shy away from such topics. So you'll hear a line. That's what it's about. But we're gonna jump into the poem. Cool? All right. Baltimore is like a set of fraternal twins, conceived as one, but birthed into two, separated by a difference in characteristics. Don't believe me? Well, check the census, because half these neighborhoods been black and poor since Nixon was president, and it's crazy. In '68, they put a bullet through a king's dream, and in the streets were riots. 2015, a gray man is made a memory, and again, riots, because America is still on a predominantly dark meat diet in this city. There are multi-climate conditions, concrete jungles, food deserts, fire hydrants are misting while resources run low. But behold, an oasis of plush green trees and rolling parks exist in the land of condos. Just look at the windows if you want to see pain. The rich, no curtains, because they would never cover. The poor use brown plywood as a cover, and you can hear the cricket field silence or police sirens bouncing off the walls of project housing. Mansions in Guilford, but vacants in Gilmore. Manicured lawns or weeds growing between the cracks of callous sidewalks when it's 2 a.m. On one side of town, there is a white woman jogging, a taut leash around the neck of her miniature schnauzer, Sophie, But on the other side of town, there are blue lights, cop lights, floodlights, cell phone lights in the hand of a young brother on the corner trapping, while the low light of hope is ever dimming. In John Hopkins medical campuses, forever sprouting, touting, revitalization, smiling through crest white teeth, while the aching teeth of the poor can feel the rot and gentrification in their dilapidated communities, decaying like cavities. But coffee cafes foreshadow a root canal for pennies. They'll uproot a mother, father, and child, then put colorful paint over a graveyard view. Just ask Greenmount what a Station North will do. Lead particles on the H2O or outdoor water fountains always afloat. Bike lanes or crater moon-sized potholes. Fiends penguin wobble to a street side lean, or prescription addicts with paychecks that keep habits fully functioning. There are some communities with flower shops, but others have teddy bear memorials commemorating homies that got popped. Tennis shoes on light poles to uplift fallen souls. You still can't see the distinction between two twins cocooned in the womb of the belly of the beast. It's easy as counting 1, 2, 3. Just count the corner stores, liquor stores, and churches versus dog parks, guarded fences, and organic markets. The tale of two Baltimores is not a secret. There are just some who are too privileged to ever see it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Very shameless plug. In addition to all the things that haven't mentioned about me, I also curate events in the city. I have one happening this Friday. I'm bringing all of my friends together, some nationally and internationally renowned folks, one out of Chicago, one out of San Diego, and one right here in Baltimore. If you'd like to come, I put flyers on the table. If you didn't get one, I can personally come hand you one because I really want you to come to the event. But yes, Lady Brion, thank you so much. Good night.
Oh my God. Was I right? I was right. So amazing. Thank you. Okay, y'all, because Brion is amazing and reminded me, the second poem that you did reminds me, because I'm in a university, I have a book recommendation for y'all, which is Dr. Lawrence Brown's The Black Butterfly. And it goes into some real public health research on just those topics that Brion was talking about. And The Black Butterfly is actually, that book and Dr. Brown's research is actually what we named the Baltimore Butterfly Sessions for.
And, shameless plug, I also did the voiceover for the book.
So if you'd like to download the audiobook, you can hear more of Brion. Amazing, amazing. Perfect. So we're gonna keep it moving, y'all, and now is the moment when there were some volunteers from the audience who already agreed. Don't worry, we're not gonna go around now, but now is the moment when I ask y'all to come on up, and we're gonna read some pop cultural and historical texts that we curated specially for tonight that'll keep the juices flowing. Oh wait, did I do this right? Yeah, I did this right. We're gonna keep the juices flowing with some more thinking about the role of arts in democracy. So can I have my civic text readers come on up? And we're gonna read right from here. Yeah, give them a round of applause, my friends. These are volunteer audience members who came tonight, and we were like, do you wanna be part of the event? And they agreed to, and they said yes. So a round of applause for your peers.
My name is Arusa, and I'm reading a quote from The Crusade of Indignation by James A. Baldwin. Words like freedom, justice, democracy are not common concepts. On the contrary, they are rare. People are not born knowing what these are. It takes enormous and, above all, individual effort to arrive at the respect for other people that these words imply.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm reading an excerpt from Amanda Gorman's poem, Believer's Hymn for the Republic. 12 years ago, to be exact, our founders dared to declare the world's most revolutionary act, a pact sworn for liberty and equality. Out of many was born one people, a teeming nation made of nations, at its very foundation a dream for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
My name is Jake Sesko, and I'm reading an excerpt from Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. Yes, Audre Lorde. There is no such thing as a single-issue struggle, because we do not lead single-issue lives. Our struggles are particular, but we are not alone. What we must do is commit ourselves to some future that can include each other and to work toward that future with the particular strengths of our individual identities.
Okay, can we give a little bit of a louder applause for your peers who just, yeah, right on, y'all. Thank you so much for volunteering. I'm gonna bring my friends John and Scott back up for another song. And I wanna tell you a little bit more about John and Scott as they're getting set at their instruments. John is an artist, musician, producer, and founder of the Love Groove Festival. He's based right here in Baltimore and has been developing his music career since literally elementary school, where he performed in a talent competition and never looked back. That's what his bio says. Today, at 22, Tyler has released 4 albums, 2 EPs, and produced over 100 artists in the DMV area. He has performed at various local and nationally known venues like the Fillmore, Ram's Head, Firefly Festival, and Baltimore's Artscape. And he's been featured in Baltimore Magazine, Be More Art, and interviewed on Charm TV. Yes. In spring 2022, he embarked on a 3-city tour to promote his latest album, which is amazing. It's called Free Spirit, and was featured in the Mayor's Arts Showcase. Yes, John Tyler, amazing, we love him. I should also mention he's an arts entrepreneur in residence at Baltimore Center Stage. And Scott Patterson is the co-founder and artistic director of Afro House, a Baltimore-based organization committed to creating disruptive music culture. Disruptive. This work is done through live performances such as the Afro House concert series, theatrical productions featuring Afro House's Astronaut Symphony, you heard that right, film and collaborations with other organizations and artists. And Scott, who you should totally Google and find out so many I'm like Baker Award, the Regional Independent Art, like so many award winning. This man is just so amazing. We're so lucky to have him tonight. And I'm gonna stop loving again because I could just go on and on and on about these 2 people. But while they're playing, I wanna offer a question to y'all to sort of meditate on, and maybe even if the spirit moves you, to chat with each other at the tables. So going back to our theme tonight, who is an artist or what is a piece of art that has helped form your political lens? Who is an artist or what is a piece of artwork that has helped to form your political lens? And I offer that as a question again for you to sort of like meditate on your own, or maybe even chat with each other at the tables. And I'm gonna have my friends take it away with another song.
Thank you. Testing, testing. Testing. in my younger days, I was living in Harlem, New York, and I was going through a time in my life where civic engagement was a necessary thing. For the first time in my life, I had to care about what's going on in my community, because what was happening was affecting me. It was personal. It just made it real. In my community, there were African Americans, there were Haitians, Cubans, Dominicans, a whole lot of people of color that spoke different languages. And that was pretty cool, but to think about it, we never spoke to each other. So each one of us thought that the problem was only happening to us. I said, each one of us thought that the problem was only happening to us. And so whenever we were trying to fight the problem, we were alone. Then came someone, an activist, who spoke Spanish, English, and French. And she brought us all together. And she helped us to fight the conditions that we were living in. And I was so inspired by that. I wrote some of this music, and this song in particular. It's called Hardness is a Thing of Life. I think Lady Brion said it right. You don't have to just stand there and listen. You can react. You can say, yeah, yeah. Everybody say, yeah, yeah. Say, yeah, yeah. Say it with love. Yeah, yeah. All right. This is what we said. Lord, this is a thing of life. Ain't nothing ever gonna change it. Keep on fighting, cause you know that nothing good ever came easy. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta go through the desert just to get a drink of water. I know. Everybody say, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you gotta climb up the mountain just to see the promised land. I know. Sometimes you gotta stumble and fall down life's rolling stream. I know.
Too good. Aren't they amazing? Aren't they amazing? Like what? Come on. Don't worry, we're gonna be blessed with one more song from both of them at the end of the night, but now I wanna keep it moving, and it's my pleasure to invite Emily White up to the mic. She is the author, she's a partner at Collective Entertainment and founder of the #iVoted Festival. She is the author of Amazon #1 best-selling How to Build a Sustainable Music Career and Collect All of the Revenue Streams. I want that book. And hosts the book's accompanying podcast of the same name. The podcast is the #1 music business podcast globally, charting on 6 continents with listeners in more than 115 countries. So Emily, with no further, I want to turn it over to you and learn all of the amazing things you have to share with us tonight.
Thank you. Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Bear with me. I took a 5:30 a.m. flight to be here. That's my commitment to voter turnout. But as mentioned, my name's Emily White, and I really want to talk to you about our work at iVoted and iVoted Festival and share what we've built, what we're doing, and hopefully it inspires you to use the skills and resources that you have to increase voter turnout and support civic engagement. So I'm a longtime entrepreneur and music industry executive. I live in New York City, but I'm originally from Wisconsin, where the 2016 presidential election was decided by 22,000 votes and change. It was decided next door in Michigan that year by 10,000 votes and change, and I'd read that voter turnout was down in my home city of Milwaukee. And I was like, 22,000 is our basketball arena, so why don't we fill it? Why don't we put together a compelling concert and tie in voting? So we started in 2018. It was just an intern and myself. We activated over 150 concert venues in 37 states, including Rams Head Live here in Baltimore, to let fans in on election night who showed a selfie from outside their polling place. And that year, for example, we had Jim James of My Morning Jacket, Playboy Cardi, Maggie Rogers, got a whole bunch of press, and it just kind of spread like fire. We were planning for a big 2020. I was holding arenas in key states when, of course, the pandemic hit. So we pivoted and produced the largest digital concert in history. Fans RSVP'd to access iVoted Festival, which took place on election night, with a selfie at home with their blank and unmarked ballot or from outside their polling place. We had over 400 artists participate, like Billie Eilish, Living Color, Fish, the list just really went on. MIT has since analyzed our work, showing that iVoted Festival increases voter turnout by over 7%. For context, the highest Get Out the Vote drives previously do so by 0.5 to 1%. This is because we book talent per the data. We absolutely are standing on the shoulder of giants. There's countless incredible organizations, throughout my lifetime, throughout years and decades, that have harnessed the power of culture for civic engagement. But instead of us sitting around and just thinking, we hope people will like this, we literally book the top trending talent in key states whose electoral margins are often decided by the size of a concert venue. We quickly followed up and produced iVoted Festival Georgia in January 2021. That was also a webcast with the same concept. So we booked the top trending artists in and from Georgia, and fans RSVP'd to access the event with a selfie from outside their polling place or at home with a blank and unmarked ballot. And for all iVoted events, if you're not 18 by election day, you can RSVP and access by letting us know what election you will be 18 for and why you're excited to vote. And if you're a non-citizen or ineligible to vote for any reason, you can attend iVoted events by letting us know which artists you're most excited to check out. So for 2022, our roots are in venues, right? That's how we started in 2018. I wasn't comfortable asking venues to open their doors last year for the selfie because they were shut down during the pandemic. So venues have still been financially recovering ever since. So we partnered with over 600 concerts nationwide, who all donated tickets to their October and November shows and launched the first ever iVoted early sweepstakes. So fans entered the sweepstakes with their selfie or applicable criteria to win tickets to 600 shows nationwide. And then we also produced our iVoted Festival webcast on election night with over 300 artists. And that included, we had Billie Eilish back again, we had Run the Jewels this year, we had athletes making appearances like Steph Curry. And entering the iVoted early sweepstakes automatically RSVP'd you for our election night webcast. So it was all one flow. It's also really important to us to educate our audience so they know who they're voting for, what they're voting on. So we interviewed over 200 civic engagement experts and iVoted artists on the iVoted podcast, which took us through the election year from registration to ballot research to turnout. I certainly learned a ton. And so we're already, the work never stops, right? Like, we all know this. So, there's going to be a Supreme Court election in my home state of Wisconsin, April 4th. The primary is actually coming up on February 21st. And, our previous Supreme Court in Wisconsin rejected the fake electors scheme in 2020, right? So that's a state Supreme Court election that has national ramifications. Abortion has since been outlawed in Wisconsin, and of course there's a plethora of issues that the Supreme Court will decide on that affects Wisconsinites, but like I said, it also has massive national ramifications on all of us. So on Monday we'll be launching our the iVoted Wisconsin sweepstakes. We've partnered with a ton of concerts in the state who have all donated tickets, and this is all because of our team. I'm so honored to work with a C-suite that's 100% women, majority BIPOC. We've assembled a team. We had over 200 volunteers for iVoted 2020, and our team is 92% BIPOC, women, non-binary, or LGBTQ+. And so something that's been incredibly moving to me, I mean, this has been the biggest lesson of representation in my life, right? Like, we have all these young women, a very diverse group that apply because they see themselves reflected in leadership. So this is all absolutely because of their work. And we're also planning some in real life events this year. We're hoping to do some work in Wisconsin. We'll also be working in Virginia later this year for the November election. And I think we're also going to do some work actually for Hartford, Connecticut's mayoral race, because I think we'll be able to get some funding around that. And we're going to be running iVoted early sweepstakes. We're going to do in real life events that you can access with the selfie, all data driven. I can't stress that enough. It is all about booking for the data, which is very fascinating in itself because there's a music industry database called Roster that have done some powerful studies really exposing the racism and sexism of the traditional music industry. For example, the top 200 management companies in the world overwhelmingly manage white cisgendered artists. But then, when we dig in on the data, for example, the top trending artist from Pennsylvania last year is a great artist named K-Suave. K-Suave has over 5 million monthly Spotify listeners, over 1 million Instagram followers, and 0 traditional industry representation. So my industry certainly has a lot to learn about who we're working with and how we're finding artists, because it's what you all are listening to. It's what you all are engaging with. And we've done all this with very limited means. We are underserved entrepreneurs ourselves, but like I said, we're a really committed team of music industry professionals that have come together to increase voter turnout. I've been filling up my board with civic engagement experts as well to learn from them. So yeah, that's what we're up to, I just want you to think about, what skills and resources do you have, right? Like, I used to be a tour manager when I was in college and shortly after. I never in a million years thought understanding the economics behind venues and shows would help to increase voter turnout, right? So if this is a space you're interested in, civic engagement, think about your backgrounds, you know, your skill sets, your knowledge that's unique to you, and how you can apply it. And if you are interested in working with us in any way, whether you have any experience or not, we work with a ton of really great college students because, like I said, I am honored to be revolutionizing voter turnout with our team, but equally inspired to be training and mentoring the next generation of activists. So everything we're doing in 2023 is super important, but it also allows us to test, measure, analyze, you know, what's working, what isn't working, so we can really go wild in 2024. So I think that's pretty much everything I have to say. I'd love, you know, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to open it up to you. It can be on the music industry, iVoted, civic engagement, or just entrepreneurship, right? Because I started this thing in my bedroom with an intern, and you know, like, here I am at Johns Hopkins. So, does anyone have any questions? We solved it. We solved voter turnout. We're good. We want more cookies and food. Well, if there's no questions, thank you so much for having me. Check out iVoted Festival. We're at iVoted Festival on social media. Join our email list, ivotedfestival.org. And if you'd like to get involved, come say hi. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Emily. Wow, I'm so inspired. Y'all, this is our evening. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to invite John and Scott up to close us out with a song. And I'll say a little bit more at the end, but let's hear some more from our brilliant musicians, speaking of the music industry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And we want to thank Lady Brion as well. And thank you for having us, everyone. You can clap for yourselves. Y'all are beautiful. Okay, I'm going to try some out. This is a new one for me. I've never done this song before in public. So, at my core, at my heart, I am an Afrofuturist. So, a lot of the poetry and things that I write, I'm always dreaming about the future. So I wrote this protest song about my dreams for my people, which is you and our future. So here we go. Now say, if we fly, but you claim the sky, then we will take our race to space.
So good. He said, I got a new song and just brought the house down. Okay. I got background music. I got it. Okay, cool. That's our show tonight. I want to say thank y'all for joining us this evening. We are so grateful to all of tonight's featured artists and speakers. We hope you all had a wonderful time, and we would love to see you all at Baltimore Center Stage anytime this spring and on into the future. We've got tons of events coming up. This Baltimore Butterfly Session series at BCS is always free, so come and check it out at BCS. The next one is on March 20th. And we've got all sorts of shows, and there are student discounts, so please check our website for those student discounted tickets. And we hope to see you there. And I want to send one more special thank you and shout out to the SNF Agora Institute here at Johns Hopkins University for inviting us to be here tonight. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of the Democracy and Freedom Festival tomorrow. It sounds like it's going to be an amazing event. So thank you for coming tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks, everyone.